Loud, big Hari Bol. Mahatma Prabhuji is a senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada and was born in 1950 in Los Angeles, California. Prabhuji met Prabhupada in 1969 and then after that moved to the Berkeley Temple in California. And in the following year in 1970 he took initiation the first and second. And since then he's relentlessly teaching and this movement to many thousands and thousands of people. Prabhuji is a very well-known speaker. He has served in many capacities as Sankirtan leader, is preaching all over the world, and right now lives in Alachua with Mataji, Janua Mataji, and their daughter, Shama
Mandali.
Mataji, yes. So we're very blessed. Prabhuji is here giving us wisdom and is going to speak on Ram Katha today. So thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Jai Ram. Sri Ram. Jai Sri Ram.
Jai Sri Ram.
Such a nice name, isn't it?
Yes.
Ram, Ram, Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Can we take this down? Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivise Sanyavadi Paschati Satarine. So as was mentioned, we've been asked to speak about Ram. Many years ago I wrote a poem summarizing Lord Ram's pastimes, and if you wouldn't mind, I would like to read it. And this way we can be, just all together, meditate on the Leelas in 5-10 minutes. And then we can discuss. I was going to put this into music, but I never got around to it. But it's never too late to do what you should have done 30 years ago, right? On the night before Ram would ascend to the throne as Ayodhya's king, amidst the joy and celebration, Dasaratha met his favorite queen. Kaikeya was lying on the ground, overwhelmed by anger and grief. The king asked, "Why all this trouble? And how can I give you relief?" At first, she remained silent. Then she said she would be all right if the king could fulfill her desire and promise to do it that night. Are you guys awake? You've never done this before, right? "Save for my son Ram," the king said, "there is none more dear to me than you. In Ram's name, whose absence would kill me, I promise anything you want me to do." Getting better. Kaikeya said, "Do you remember long ago when the gods enlisted you to fight a fierce battle against the demons, and how I was the one who saved your life? If you don't get it right, you don't get prasadam. You wanted to repay me then, so 2 boons you promised to give. The time has come to ask for them. If you don't grant them, I cannot live. Give and live. Yes, I remember well this promise. Please ask anything of me, dear, my dear. I wish that so please ask anything of me, my dear. And now she speaks. I wish that Bharat, not I wish, I wish that Bharat be made the king and Ram exiled for 14 years. Sound effects, please. You're supposed to go, oh! We need your participation. He begged her not to ask this boon. He reasoned and he pleaded and cried. Realizing he could not dissuade her, he fainted and fell down. And you're going to say, and died. No. And fell down by her side. Dasaratha was bound by his promise. His son Ram would not become the king. When Kaikeya told Ram about his exile, the Lord gracefully accepted every... Come on. The Lord gracefully accepted every... When Ram told Sita of his departure, she begged to accompany him. I will clear thorns from the road. My duty is to serve your every whim. So if someone ever asks you, could you sum up like Ram Leela in one sentence, it might be, when you travel, don't take your wife. could be that. But I heard Prabhupada say, something more like, can you sum up Ram Leela? Yeah, don't get married. It's a lot of trouble. Something like, or if you get married, it's going to be a lot of trouble. Yeah. The citizens could not bear the grief of being separated from their Ram, so they accompanied him to the forest. But he would only take Sita and Lakshmana. I was thinking about this. You know, now here in America, there's a court case, not one court case, there's many court cases against Trump, but there's the court case about the January 6th insurrection. There are many former Trump followers who are now testifying against him because that way. They're also implicated, but they won't be implicated or less implicated if they testify against him. So I was thinking, you know, all the citizens, they go with Ram, they do the austerity, they die for him, they do anything. And then you have Trump's followers who are all definitely not willing to die for him, not willing to go to jail for him, you know, willing to lie and cheat for him until they get caught. But it's interesting, isn't it? Bharat soon returned to Ayodhya to find all the citizens in pain. He then chastised his mother and said, I will rule only till Rama returns again. Yeah, pain. And if you're from Canada, it rhymes better. Pain and again. How do you say again? Again? Again. Yes. Well, if you're from Europe, if from London, it'll rhyme better. Again. Pain and again. You know the scene when Bharat was, it's such an amazing, dramatic scene when his mother's thinking, oh, you know, hey Bharat, you know, I got you, you know, a job. And he's like, he just lays into her, how could you do that to my brother? You know, a son and a mother, and the son is just like furious about what his mother did. And so he agrees to take the throne only till Rama returns. Dasaratha could not bear the fact that he put Ram in tribulation. Shortly after Ram was banished, the king died out of separation. Yeah. So this is interesting. Death. What was the cause of his death? Goes to court. You know, you have the death certificate. What was the cause? Separation. I don't think that's listed as a cause in the modern world, is it? Old age, natural causes. He was shot, whatever. Separation. And the judge is looking at this. Died out of separation. But it happens when the love is that intense. In the forest they lived in huts amidst many a ferocious beast. Their clothes were made from the bark of trees, roots and fruits were all they had to eat. And Lord Ram he really was digging it. He liked it. Wasn't it? He was having a good time, like living as an ascetic. They met a witch disguised as a maiden who wanted Ram to be her own. When she tried to attack and devour Sita, Lakshmana cut off her ears and nose. She lied to her brother Ravana, the most powerful of evil kings. I just tried to bring Sita back for you, and look what they did to me. To take revenge, she provoked him to enact an evil scheme. Steal Sita away from Ram and make her your principal queen. God. The thing about Ram Leela, which differs from Krishna Leela, Krishna Leela is not that exciting because you always know the outcome. You know, the demons come, they attack, and Krishna goes, "You're dead." That's pretty much it. And you know, he might throw a Sudarshan, or he might, you know, slap them, or you know, do something. But it's like you know, world championship boxer is fighting a 5-year-old. You know, so it's just a question of when he wants to knock him out, and you all know he's going to knock him out, right? There's no question. Lord Ram doesn't do that. Lord Ram is an expansion of Krishna, so we can say he's Krishna, but he attracts us in a different way by playing the part of a human. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Like when Krishna's with a demon, you're like, oh, I hope you never think, oh, I hope he wins, I hope he wins. You know, I'm afraid he's going to lose. It's never like that, right? Krishna's, his tribulation is separation from his devotees, but there's no material tribulation. But with Ram, there's all kinds of material tribulation. And so what does it do? It extracts an emotion of sympathy towards Ram, which you don't generally get with Krishna, right? What's to be sympathetic about? And so it's extracting from those who hear Ram Leela an emotion which is purifying, because his Leela, the way he does his Leela, at least it would be better if it chanted Om. Like, most speakers go This is a new sound. This is because of the what? You want to unplug this?
They'll plug in the orange cable.
Oh.
Just get it.
Yeah, I've got the mic turned on. Govinda. So, the whole Leela of Ram is the emotional response we have to the Leela of Ram is unique in all the Leelas, because the way he does his Leela, it makes us worry a little bit. Like, we're like on his side. He plays the underdog, and everybody is always for the underdog, isn't it? Any movie, you're always for the underdog. They're being mistreated. Ravan is cheating him, and he's undergoing difficulty. So that's a special feature. So his pastimes are more human-like, and therefore they're more suspenseful and more heartbreaking. So now, normally in life, our heart will break when we lose somebody, or someone leaves us. And then in Lord Rama's Leela, our heart is breaking for Lord Ram, which is completely different emotion than our heart breaking for the loss of something material, isn't it? So he loses Sita, heartbreaking, right? He's exiled, heartbreaking. He gets Sita back, and then he sends her away, heartbreaking. And it was like, it's all heartbreaking, but we are going through these emotions while we're hearing it. The same emotions we may go through ordinarily, but now these emotions are uplifting, purifying, because it's in relation to Ram. Does that make sense? So, Ram is tricking us. And I don't know if you know this. If you're older, you know this. But I was in India when Ram Leela was playing on television. You remember, when it first came out? And it's like, you know how crowded cities are in India. Well, when Ram Leela was playing, it was like a ghost town. Parliament was closed, or whatever you call it there in India. Like I was told, the government offices shut down. Everything shut down to watch Ram Leela. And I was amazed when I heard that. Like, how why is this Ram Leela so attractive that the whole city would shut down? I mean, the government would shut down. It's a good time for the Muslims to attack, when everyone's watching Ram Leela. But it's because the Leela of Ram, it pulls the heartstrings so much that you have to keep watching it. Like, what's going to happen next? Is Ram is Ram going to make it? And, I mean, we already know what's happening, but still, even though we know, it's like we become part of that Leela. Like when you watch a movie, you become part of that movie. You don't know you're not in the movie. You forget you're sitting watching it, right? So you become part of Ram Leela, and then you're like, it's like you're in the Leela. You're like there, and fully Krishna conscious. So, of course, Lord Ram knows how to direct movies, right? So he's good at that. He knows how to write the script. He knows how to act. He knows how to train the actors. He knows how to do everything, and that's what the Leela is. It's a Leela which is produced, written, and played by Krishna and his friends, his eternal associates. It also gives a chance for his eternal associates to come down to the material world and perform. You know, like drama troops like to perform. You go to different places. So they're performing these Leelas, these eternal Leelas. They're performing here. And then we get to see, you know, one of the great things we get to see is the bhakti of Hanuman. That deep love for, you know, that Hanuman has. And the love of a bhakta is, for us, is one of the greatest things, the greatest motivators for devotion, is to see another devotee whose life and soul is Lord Ram, or Lord Krishna, or Lord Vishnu. That inspires us like nothing can inspire us. So, when you hear about Hanuman, when you hear about Hanuman, you really should focus in on his bhakti and his devotion, and then focus in on your bhakti, your devotion, and just kind of compare and see if you can get inspiration from that. This is, you know, so much love. This is what bhakti is all about. So, we're talking about Ravana now. I'm going to talk a little more about Ravana later, but I just want to mention, you know, when you think of Ravana, what do you think of? Like evil, right? Like all bad qualities anyone could have intensified 1,000,000 times, right? So we think, that's Ravana. And we think, and this is me, and there's a big difference. Well, I would say, not so fast. If you look at Ravana's qualities, his bad qualities, you can see that there's quite a few bad qualities he has that we also have. Maybe not to the degree, because he's Ravana, but you know, maybe in seed form, maybe they're sprouted small. But if you actually look at his qualities and start asking yourself, well, do I have a trace of any of those qualities? You realize, yeah, I do. But we tend to think, that's Ravana, and I have nothing to do with him because I'm a devotee. But if you think about it, you'll see that some of his qualities we carry, at least to some degree, at least a fragrance of them. And it's, you know, Krishna puts these characters in his Leelas for us to look at and say, okay, I don't think I'm like him because I'm a devotee. I said, wait a minute, maybe it's not so black and white. So, you know, you can do a little exam. You can examine yourself, you know, examine Ravana, examine yourself, see if there are any similarities there. I mean, if we're honest, we'll say, yeah, you know. Probably if I saw Sita, I'd have my eyes out for her, maybe, could be, right? Or some woman as beautiful as Sita. Did I ever look at a woman as beautiful as Sita and just walk away? Well, you know, maybe I'd want her also, or someone like her. Yeah, could be, right? Would I, do I want wealth? Do I want fame? Maybe not like Ravana, but yeah, I do. So, you know, these are, Krishna drops these characters in there, and we think they're nothing like us, but if you examine further, you can see some similarities, right? You know, some of you may know this story, but one man asked my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, about Krishna dancing with other men's wives. This is a common question. If he's God, why would he dance with other men's wives? Right? You ever think? You ever hear that question? Or you ever think that question? This is God. God is supposed to be moral, and now he's doing the most immoral thing. What's going on? And Prabhupada said, every woman is Krishna's wife. And your wife is Krishna's, so you're the one who's dancing with another man's wife. So, everything depends how you look at it. So that, that tendency, that's there within the heart of men too. Want to enjoy Krishna's property. Let's just look at it. Did Ravana want to enjoy God's property? Yeah. Did he want to get rid of God? If you want to enjoy God's property, it's kind of a pain if God's there also, because you're like, I'm trying to steal everything from you, and you're showing up. Could you go away? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? You ever have that, like, you ever have this, like, you kind of want to do something you shouldn't do, and one devotee's being like a devotee going, you shouldn't do that. That's not good. You should read this verse in Bhagavad Gita. Could you just like go away and leave me alone? And just let me be, do what I want to do. It's not good for you, Prabhu. You shouldn't do that. Your guru won't be happy. I know. Could you just stop bothering me? You ever had that, like, don't bother me with this Krishna stuff while I'm in Maya. That type of thing. So, yeah. Sometimes we want to be a bit like Krishna, and, we don't really want Krishna around, because, how can you be like Krishna if he's there? Okay. He had a magical deer charm Sita, and Ram chased her on her plea. Then the deer imitated Ram's cry for help, and Sita forced Lakshman to go see. Okay, on the count of 3, everyone wake up. 1, 2, 3. Wake up. Okay, it's your chance for the next one. Lakshman made a circle before he left that none could go beyond. So Ravana disguised himself as a saint and grabbed Sita when she gave him alms. Beyond an alms. Close enough. Ravana took her and grabbed Sita when she gave him alms. Ravana took her to his island Lanka and offered her pleasures of every kind. Although he tried to make her his queen, Ram was the only one on her mind. Ravana said, I give you 1 year to submit to my request. And here's where the true love part comes in. If you don't become my queen by then, I will kill you and eat your flesh. True love, right? Love me or I'll kill you and eat you. Interesting. There's a lot to learn from this, isn't there? What is true love? Often true love is true lust, not true love. Ram enlisted monkey soldiers. They searched for Sita everywhere. When Hanuman jumped to Lanka, he found her lying in great despair. When Hanuman showed her Lord Ram's ring, tears of happiness fell down her face. Hanuman assured her that very soon Rama would come and take her from this place. Then, we need some military drumming. Then Ravana's soldiers attacked Hanuman, and he killed them all, yet didn't tire. Ravana caught him and set his tail ablaze, but he used it To set Lanka, if you don't get this one, go get out of here. To set Lanka on fire. Thank you. The monkeys built a bridge to Lanka by floating stones upon the sea. Ram, Lakshman, and their monkey soldiers came to kill Ravana and set Sita free. So, this is, as you all know, stones don't float. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah. If you don't know it, just throw a stone in the water and it'll sink, right? So now someone who doesn't believe in Indian mythology or thinks everything is Indian mythology is like, yeah, right, your story, stones float, right? But Prabhupada said, who made the laws of gravity? God. So can he change up the laws? He made them, he can change. All right, stones don't float. We're going to change that law for this Leela. Now, we're going to make stones float. Because he made the law that they don't float, now he made the law that they do float. Right? At one time, one of our devotees wanted to get some time on radio. Maybe at that time, religious groups were given free time on radio. So he wanted to make little clips. You know, like 10-second phrases, 20-second phrases. And Prabhupada gave him one. He said, when you throw a little pebble in the water, it'll go to the bottom, and you put a big ship weighing thousands of tons on the water and it floats. Who made that arrangement? That was just a clip. Who made that arrangement? Like how did that happen? So, as you know, Lord Ram said, put the name Ram on the stone and then it'll float. That was how it floated. And then there was, later on, somebody wanted to cross, maybe go to Lanka also, or cross another river. And they said, well, put Ram's name on it. And he goes, I don't believe in Ram. And he tried to build a bridge and he just drowned, I think. Did any of you know that story? Yeah. What, did he try to build a bridge and walk on it and or he got the stones to float, then he went to walk on the bridge and then he sunk? Is that how it worked? Something like that? Because he didn't put the name of Ram because he was atheist, so he didn't believe it. Oh, this is a bunch of nonsense. I'll make him float. Something like that. Seeing this vast monkey army. Well, another thing about monkeys. Prabhupada sometimes called his disciples monkey soldiers. Just as Ram, he didn't have real military men. All he had were monkeys. I was like, that's all he could get in the forest was monkeys. So, instead of the big powerful force that Ravana had, Lord Ram's going to fight a war with monkeys. Could you imagine? President Zelensky, can you send more monkeys to Ukraine? We need more monkeys. Yeah, but I'm sure these monkeys are yeah, we should get some of those monkeys, they probably fight better. Anyway, so Prabhupada said, yeah, my monkey disciples, it was like, this is all I got, this is all Krishna sent me, so we have to use them. We're not qualified. Seeing this vast monkey army, Ravana's advisors told him not to fight. Give Sita back to Ram, they begged, or we shall face a horrible plight. So this is very instructive. Ravana's own ministers all told him, give Sita back, this is not good. They understood. You don't steal Sita from Lord Ram and not suffer the consequence. This is a bad idea. Just give her back. And as we know, Ravana was infatuated. And so when one becomes infatuated or attached to something and wants it, what happens when he gets good advice? He can't listen to it. It's such a good example, isn't it? This particular part of the pastime. It's like there's every reason in the world to give her back, but he won't. That's called really stupid, isn't it? Have you ever noticed that there's some people with high IQs that are really stupid? And Ravana was intelligent, right? He had 10 heads, right? So if his IQ was 180, multiply it by 10. So he had a high IQ, but he did a really stupid thing. So when we may be the smartest person in the world, but when we become attached, we can do very stupid things. You know, I heard maybe some of you who are medical people may know this better than I do, but I heard when you become infatuated with another person and fall in love, like a certain part of your brain, that the frontal part of your brain that deals with reasoning and like that, it completely shuts off. Like it doesn't work anymore. So that's why everyone in the universe says, he's the wrong one for you. I don't think you should do it. No, I'm doing it. You're the only person who doesn't see it. It's like something shut down in your brain, you know, the part that makes you think clearly. So, you know, when you become very attached or you become infatuated, your intelligence can shut down. Now, think of this. This is quite interesting. Imagine you were a mutation and you had everything. You know, you had 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 legs, 2 arms. You had all the 8 elements except you didn't have 8, you had 7. You were missing 1, intelligence. They just, you know, Lord Brahma just forgot to put intelligence in you. What would your life be like without intelligence? Could you imagine? You couldn't. It's just if you like it, you did it. That's it. There's no reasoning. There's no analysis. There's no future consequences. It's just, I want it. Which is basically animal life, right? Animals can be trained, but they don't discriminate. So it's pretty dangerous, don't you think, to be in a situation where your intelligence stops working? That's pretty scary, right? Isn't it? Because that degrades us to the level of an animal. So that's what happened to Ravana, this super intelligent person. He becomes attached to Sita, and it shuts he's so infatuated, it shuts his brain down. He can't think straight. Interesting, isn't it? Be careful when you fall in love. Your brain will stop working for a few months. It's actually, they've done research. And you know what they found? They found that when someone falls in love, they're more intoxicated. I don't know the hormones that go shooting out in large quantities, oxytocin and whatever, dopamine. Said they're more intoxicated than the person on marijuana. They've done studies. So if you go to the office and someone's looking at their computer like this, oh my God, what did he take? He took love potion number 9. He's in love. It's true. Scary, right? Ravana did not listen to a word. He could not give up his sinful desire. Thinking his armies all-powerful, he ordered them to attack and fire. Desire and fire. Ghastly and bloody battles ensued, killing all of Ravana's men. At last he challenged Ram, saying, I will put your life to an end. Ravana's strength seemed invincible. He put Rama's might to the test. Though Rama's body was full of arrows, he slew Ravana with a shot to the chest. This is a condensed version, right? This is fast motion. Then Hanuman brought Sita to Ram, but his broken heart would not mend, since she had lived with another man. It was wrong to accept her back again. Like, how crazy is that? The whole movie is about getting Sita. They risk their life to get Sita, and then he gets her back, and he's like, I was just thinking, you're actually at the home of another man, so I forgot. I can't accept you back. Wow. Hare Krishna. Weeping loudly, she assured her Lord, I never granted Ravana's desire. My Lord, if you do not accept me back, I will enter into fire. She walked into the fire saying, if I have ever been faithful to you, let the fire god now save me and prove that I was always true. So, as you know, it was Agni who was, you know the story, Lord Chaitanya went to the home. Whose home did he go to? Venkatapata. And Venkatabhata was like, he was serving Mahaprabhu and he was all miserable and he wouldn't eat, he wasn't hungry. Mahaprabhu said, why? He said, because Sita, what was his lamentation? That Ram rejected Sita? Was that it? Is that why he was upset? You remember? Like Sita was rejected by Ram and he was depressed? Is that it? And then Lord Chaitanya said, no, it was just a Leela. Agni just kept the real Sita. It was an imitation. It was a abhas of Sita, the shadow of Sita, not the real Sita. The real Sita was with Agni, so the abhas Sita, the false Sita, when she walked into the fire, the real Sita came out. So he had to tell him that story because he was like so upset that Sita was kidnapped. No, he was upset. He must have been upset that Sita was kidnapped, and Mom had to say, no, it wasn't really Sita. It was another form. Anyway, amidst the cries of people, and everybody's crying when Ram says this, you could imagine. Ram's tearful eyes fell on her as she walked out of the fire, and Agni declared, Sita is pure. Eyes flooded with tears. Rama said, I know Sita is my devoted wife, but this had to be proven to confirm a king's moral life. So look at like, this is amazing. What just happened? Ram is king. It's so important that a king sets the proper example because everyone's going to follow the king, right? One person said recently, I don't want to be the president. I don't want the president of the United States to be somebody I wouldn't want my son to be like. I said, yes, that's perfect. Of course, good luck. It's not going to happen. But a Rajarsi, a saintly king, he understands the point of setting a good example. So he's so conscious of his example that he's willing to banish his own wife to set an example. Wow, that's amazing. Huh? They now returned to Ayodhya. 14 years had come and gone. Bharat turned the throne over to Rama, and all rejoiced with dance and... You guys are falling asleep. On the count of 3, you're going to wake up. I'm hypnotizing you. Count of 3, you will wake up. 1, 2, 3. The gods all felt the highest bliss. Everyone was peaceful and calm, and the whole kingdom was chanting, all glories to Sita and... Duh. They lived happily in Ayodhya until Ram went out in disguise to mix among the citizens and find out what was on their minds. He heard a husband chastise his wife for spending time away from home. It is not right that I take you back. I will not be immoral like King Ram. Whoa. When Ram overheard this conversation, it went deep into his heart. He knew now the time had come for him to ask Sita to depart. For if a king is not respected, and does not set an example for all, his life will be a failure and his kingdom will be sure to set the proper example and maintain religious rights. Sita was banished to the forest and left alone to leave her life. And that's where it ends. Hare Krishna. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. What time are we supposed to end? 6 o'clock? We have 1 minute. The Lord is all blissful, and when you associate with the Lord, you become blissful. Have you noticed that when you hear the pastimes of Krishna or Ram, you become very blissful? Have you noticed that? Even if you weren't blissful before, when you hear them? Because what's happening is you're actually associating with them. And you can't be unhappy if you're associating with something that's happy. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. So, just by sitting here in the temple and hearing this, we were actually in the spiritual world for the last 40 minutes. Did you notice that? Like, when you're hearing, then you're not actually on this plane. These pastimes are transcendental. And we're becoming purified even if we don't know it just by hearing. That's the beauty of it. So we can go on hearing about Ram forever. And we'll never tire. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. So it was nice being here with all of you. I come here once every 10 years. Yeah. If you are interested, there's a book table over there, and I have some books and other items, t-shirts and recordings. If you're interested, you can just go there and see what we have, and I think you will like what you get. I think it will help you a lot. These books were written after